Hello, everyone. Welcome to my session today. I'm Andrei, and I'm actually super grateful to be part of this event. And I'm saying currently hi from Barcelona, Spain. About myself as a professional, I've always enjoyed the creative and data-driven side of technology. And from my blogs and talks, I hope to inspire many of you IT professionals out there to bring value to your organization in new, diverse, and maybe ingenious ways. I'm currently part of a platform team at Typhon that is called Software Engineering Tools and Infrastructure. Our main aim is to support the organization with processes, self-built or existing market tools, standards, infrastructure, metrics throughout the whole software delivery lifecycle. And this will finally lead to a more stable and reliable platform. So this is our mission. Today, I'm going to share you a story about scaling up that is related to our team's activity. In 2020, things have considerably changed since the last time Typeform has been created, like back in 2013. Typeform is growing as a brand right now, and as you can imagine, that also the platform that we have behind it has grown, and it's not longer what it was back then. As our product started to mature, our user base also to grow, and all of this not just in one specific part of the world, but in many, we realized that our platform is facing new challenges that we need to tackle if we want to continue being a global brand and growing as a global brand. One of these challenges is pretty straightforward, I guess, and it's the talk of today. Basically, having your product available for different regions of the world. This is one problem you don't really start noticing until you start to have a huge number of customers or users in the parts of the world you're not really expecting. You think your platform is up because your production monitoring system hit your platform from the same data center location as the deployed one. And the customers are opening support tickets, which take ages to resolve by your engineers because they cannot reproduce the issue that they're having. As a company that wants to grow and scale, we need to prepare the platform not just to be better, faster at reacting, but also be proactive when these issues occur. So in this context, there are many improvements that one can bring to a platform. Now, it was very clear for us that one of the things we needed to do is start looking at availability outside of our current spotlight. And of course, have this coupled with our alerting system. So in case we do have a downtime, we can react and repair much faster. There are many solutions out there that offer effortless or almost effortless solutions to this problem. And I think all of them are right. Obviously, each one of them come with its own set of features that make them unique, fancy integration, different set of location, different pricing. And speaking strictly from a technical perspective, they're very low complexity. And it's not complicated to set any of this up to do the job. And I really love when this is happening with technology. It's really making us focus on what is the most meaningful thing to do, solve problems. This is why we are engineers, to solve problems. So if the challenge is not setting up the tool, what is the challenge? Well, the challenge is actually about all the rest of the things but the tool. As in everything in engineering, understanding what needs to be built and how it's going to be used before laying a finger on the implementation. So up next, I will share with you 10 things you need to be asking yourself so you can build up your own strategy of monitoring your platform from different locations, together with some tips and tricks for sure. First one is the most difficult, I think. From all of the locations of the world, which ones to monitor? Obviously, if you're not a teleco company or similar, it's not really feasible to really monitor each tiny location of the globe. Look at what matters to your business. Things like top X locations by user base, top X customer by visits, top X location by customers with premium accounts should help you really understand where you need to put your focus. Secondly, look at your SLAs and legal agreements. Do you need to provide something in a special location? Our approach at Typeform was to have a baseline of a mix of top location by visit with top location by customers. And I'm talking about location, but what does location mean? Is it a city, a country, a region? What is it? It can be any of the options that I've stated above and any of the combination. And this depends mostly on how your business operates. For example, If you're a food delivery company with a strong presence in a big city or metropolis, monitoring those particular cities is the right thing to do, because you'll be generating most profit from those cities and not from some parts of your big region, no? At Typeform, we've settled for a mix between countries and regions, but we're aware that this might change because our business model might change at some point. This question might appear before and after selecting the locations. Should the chosen location be treated all in the same way? Meaning, should I trigger alerts in the same way for all the locations that I have? Ideally, yes, it's to treat the locations all in the same way, no? And if we have an alert in Barcelona, have the same priority as San Francisco. But realistically speaking, this goes a bit like production incidents or bugs, no? If we want to fix everything, where do we start first? Using your company's priority system, this can help you. You know, at Typeform, we are still learning about this, and currently we are aiming to treat all of these downtimes like any other. But due to the regional countries mix, some locations are finally a bit more important than others, and they are not triggered and impactful in the same way. So another thing to take into account: how frequent do these monitors execute over the production instance of my platform? Look at traffic. It's the best way to tackle this. A couple of users per minute might not give us enough reason to test often, no? And as we're talking about scaling platforms here, and that the chosen locations are with high traffic, generally once per minute should be just enough. A granularity above the minute is a right, but might make you unaware for much more time that you have a problem. And this is not very convenient. But if we are to execute each minute, we'll end up with around 45,000 entries per month in our databases, or 500,000 per year, no? And that's a lot, no? That's a lot of spam. Even the security rules might block this activity. Yes, that's a lot, and the only way forward in this topic is flag things. So this doesn't interfere with other departments or other activities of other people in your company, no? This can be done via allow listing the IP, adding certain bypass headers, user agents, parameterize requests, and so on. At Typeform, the different systems that this might interfere with all have different requirements. So we ended up making a mix with what I mentioned before, so it doesn't affect any of these. Next on, should this monitoring system create an alert each time a failure is generated? I'd say not really, and this is for a couple of reasons. One of the most important one is that the servers on the location on the tool you are using might not have the availability in that moment. And this might be not because of you, it might be because of them. So this doesn't mean that your users are facing troubles in that region, and this shouldn't create an alert, as it would really spam the engineers and they will finally challenge the robustness of this tool. No? A good practice here would be to trigger an alert if a consecutive amount of failures is identified over a location. No? You could set up a retry in case of failure, or wait until the next execution, depending on the frequency of the execution of the monitor. We talk a lot about failures, but what are failures? What we consider failure in this case? All the tools come with a default understanding of what a failure is, and which I've seen is very standardized between them. No? Basically, errors in HTTP requests, timeouts, everything around this area. Of course, all of them also offer that you can add your own failure criteria. No? Maybe you have some custom error codes that are not defaulted there. Maybe there you want to lower the timeouts on latency. Maybe you want to assert something in the response, and also this is all depending on how your SLAs are and general policy regarding performance at your company. So if you're starting and want to explore how you could tweak this, I'd recommend going to the default in the beginning and learn from this, and learn from how your system behaves and then improve it. We're talking a lot about failures, but who should react first if there is a failure in a specific world area? Who should fix it? in an ideal DevOps environment, it would be definitely the team owning that particular part of the platform. But I have seen, like in different organizations that I was part of, that realities are very different. Now, generally, who owns this is the people or the group or teams that have access and knowledge to make those changes. No, this can be either SRE teams, ops, incident management, product or platform team, so on. Nevertheless, it's critical to have somebody to react if this happens. At Type1, at first, we were the ones who to be alerted, so we could understand who is better to contact in case a failure is identified. And we realized that actually the teams owning that part of the platform. So if we have a downtime in all of the areas, because let's say a defect is introduced in production, isn't this going to trigger a huge quantity of redundant alerts that we don't want to look at? If you're going to go for a default setup, these monitors are going to fail and are going to trigger an alert that will be yet another alert in the clutter of alerts that the on-call engineer needs to go through. And this is really not ideal. This is a problem that generally appears in scaling organization and scaling engineering organization. And luckily, there is software out there that can help with grouping the alerts based on root cause or affected area or so on. There's even AI-based tools like Mooksoft that I've looked the other day, and they just do that. Nevertheless, starting, I think, smaller is better. Have the alerts first and make this an important topic. And then the other thing is another topic. No, tackle it later. Tackle it when this becomes relevant. What exactly should we monitor? An endpoint, a complete user journey, all the endpoints that we have exposed, if a certain response action is happening after hitting an endpoint or completing a journey, what should we do? So first of all, I think about the purpose of this, checking the availability of the system from different parts of the globe. Take it simple. Modern tech organizations already have other things like testing in production that will do some user journeys that are partial or complete, or the check response to the APIs. A good practice is just keep it simple, as I just said. If the purpose is to check if a particular part of the platform is accessible from different regions, think about what's the minimum thing you can do to achieve that. Most of the time, it's just a simple API call or a ping to a link, no? And this will do the trick. Secondly, look at your architecture of the platform. So you can choose which exact parts of it should be hit by the monitors. Like, for example, in a monolithic architecture, one monitor doing a get in your main URL should just do the trick. But in a microservices architecture, things might be a bit more tricky, no? So and also not feasible to create monitors for each endpoint that you have out there, no? Because of the quantity and their rapid change. So understanding how are these things deployed, what's the connection between them, would allow you to understand what's the minimum set of things that you can choose in order to monitor all your platform and avoid downtimes in different parts of the world. And to conclude my talk today, I'd really like to stress out the following aspects. As a scaling organization, you need to look at things differently than before. So before jumping into setting everything up and any of the tools that are out there, look at the current needs of checking availability of different world areas today in your company from the perspective of the near future and today as well. Although there are some best practices, the most important aspect is looking at the personalized context of your organization while designing the strategy for this thing. Choose a tool later that can help you a bit more than just today. And last but not least, I think in a scaling organization, there are many things that can be done much better. So if you choose to monitor availability of your platform from different world areas, start super small. Start small. And then figure out what are the other details that you want to tackle around the way. So this will be much more impactful than trying to do it all from the beginning. And if you want to reach out to me to help you set up this, or just drop me a line or chat, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. And do check out my blog for my experience and opinions regarding work in the software development industry. Last but not least, I'd like to hear what you loved and hated about my session today. And I invite you to scan this QR code and do it via the feedback form that it's there. And don't worry, it's a very friendly type form. So thanks for joining me today and see you around.